Today's story is about a guy who spent 4 years building a life with someone. He helped her from day one, the YouTube channel, the photography sessions, the whole thing. He put down 85 grand toward a house. He proposed. He was ready to do the whole married life thing. And then he found out, completely by accident, standing in a parking lot with his engine still running, that the entire relationship was a long con for real estate and Instagram followers. She had a plan, a timeline, and a target. What she didn't have was a closed window. Pull up a chair. This one's worth every second. My fiancé planned to marry me, take the house, and divorce me. 6 months later for Instagram clout, so I set up the family dinner and beat her to the public breakup. I work as a fleet operations manager for a regional freight company. My job is basically making sure trucks move from point A to point B without drivers deciding to take unscheduled detours through 4 extra states. Not the most exciting thing to explain at dinner parties, but I pull in around 97 grand a year. Solid money for solid work. My fiancé, Brooke, 29, worked as a community coordinator at some overpriced juice bar chain that charged $18 for blended kale and called it a wellness experience. She pulled in around 52 grand a year and spent it like she was operating on a 200,000 budget with a second income nobody told her about. Her entire personality had become her Instagram account, where she sat at about 4,200 followers and carried herself like she was managing a media empire. Daily outfit posts with captions like casual Tuesday vibes, after clearly spending 2 hours in front of the mirror. Food photos with paragraphs about manifesting abundance. Selfies with inspirational quotes she'd definitely stolen from someone else. The full influencer starter pack, complete with delusion. She'd compare herself to actual models like it was just a factual statement. Bella Hadid and I have the same bone structure. No, Brooke, you don't. I could totally do runway if I wanted to pivot my brand. Sure, Jan. My engagement rate is actually better than some celebrities. Yeah, because your aunt and a rotating cast of bot accounts are exceptionally loyal followers. We met 4 years ago at a coffee shop downtown. I was working on my laptop during lunch when she walked up and asked if the seat across from me was taken. The place was packed. I said no. She sat down, smiled, and within 5 minutes we were talking about everything. She had this energy that made a slow Tuesday feel like something was actually happening. And when she told me about her content creator dreams, I didn't roll my eyes. I helped. I helped her set up her YouTube channel, taught her basic video editing, gave feedback on her captions, bought better lighting for her apartment because she said the overhead light was washing out her aesthetic. I supported the whole influencer thing because I figured, if it makes her happy, what's the harm? Year 1 was genuinely good. We clicked. She met my family, I met hers. Year 2 was when the Instagram hobby became a full-blown lifestyle. She started calling herself a content creator everywhere, pitched brands for sponsorships and got rejected by every single one, but kept going like the next email was going to be the one. Her YouTube channel averaged maybe 40 views per video, and I'm pretty sure at least half of those were her rewatching her own edits, looking for improvements. Year 3, I made excuses, told myself everyone has their thing. Some people collect vintage sneakers. Some people take 60 photos of their coffee before they drink it. I kept being her personal photographer on demand. Kept retaking couple photos 15 times until her jawline was angled exactly right. Kept pretending I didn't notice how much of our time together was really just her content calendar. I should have paid more attention to what I was actually ignoring, but I didn't. Classic. Year 4, I proposed. Not because I was wildly in love the way I'd been in year 1, if I'm being honest. More because it felt like the next logical step. We'd been together long enough. Our families knew each other. We got along most of the time. Why not? I took her to the restaurant where we'd had our first real date. Got down on one knee during dessert. She cried. Said yes. Then immediately asked me to retake the ring photo because her nail polish was chipped in the first shot. She posted about the engagement for a solid week straight. Different angles of the ring. Close-ups with fresh flowers she went out and bought specifically for the photos. Her hand on my chest, so you got both the ring and my face in the frame. Captions about finding her soulmate and manifesting true love into existence. Her follower count jumped to 4,600. She was beyond thrilled. Okay, pause. For the listeners, this is me, not the OP. I need you to appreciate what we're dealing with here. This woman has 4,200 followers, and the confidence of someone with a Netflix deal and a publicist. She's comparing herself to supermodels, while her YouTube channel sits at 40 views, half of which are her own rewatches. This is what happens when the algorithm gives you 12 likes on a Tuesday, and your brain says Vogue cover. She's living in the Truman Show, except she built the set herself and forgot to tell the cast. Anyway, the house is coming, and so is the plan. Neither ends the way she expects. Then came the house conversation. We were both throwing money away on rent, me in a decent one-bedroom in Forest Hills, her in a studio with a roommate she complained about like it was a full-time job. Combining our incomes meant we could actually own something real. Build equity. Stop handing money to a landlord. Do the adult thing. I'd been saving for 6 years at that point. Had about 85,000 set aside. Brooke had maybe 12 grand. We looked at places in Queens and found a 3-bedroom ranch in Bayside that needed some cosmetic work but had solid bones. Listed at 470,000. The plan was simple. Pool everything. Both names on the deed, split it equally. Even though I was covering most of the down payment, we were getting married anyway. What's mine is yours, right? We made an offer. They accepted. Closing was set for 2 months out. Brooke completely lost her mind with excitement. Posted about it constantly. First-time homeowner with exterior shots of the house. Building my empire with photos of paint swatches fanned out on a table. Manifestation works with screenshots of her Pinterest boards. Follower count hit 5,100. She started hashtagging everything homeowner life before we'd signed a single document. 3 weeks before the bank meeting to finalize everything, that's when I found out what her actual plans were. And they had an expiration date. My expiration date, specifically. It was a Tuesday in mid-October. I'd taken a half day to get our financial documents organized for the upcoming bank meeting. Boring adult responsibility stuff. Brooke had texted me around noon saying she was having some friends over at my apartment, that they'd be gone by 6. No problem. She had a key. I wrapped up my paperwork around 3 and headed home early. Figured I'd catch a nap, order food, decompress. I pulled into my parking spot and grabbed my phone to text Brooke I was back. That's when I heard voices coming through my open window. My apartment faced the lot. The window was cracked open. The voices were clear. I'm telling you, once that house is in my name, I am done with him. I froze. Hand on the door handle. Engine still running. Brooke's voice. Then a second voice. Her college friend Kayla. You're really doing it. 4 years of pretending I care about freight routes. 4 years of sitting through family dinners listening to trucking stories. Do you know how many times I've wanted to disappear? I want credit just for making it this far. Laughter. Multiple voices. I turned off the engine and sat there. But his name is going on the deed too, right? Yeah, but my dad knows a lawyer. There are ways around that after the wedding, especially if I can document that he's never home or that I contributed more financially. His friend said I just need to file for divorce 6 months after the ceremony and take the house in the settlement. Clean and simple. My hands went numb on the steering wheel. That's ruthless, Kayla said, but she was laughing. It's strategic. He makes decent money, but he's maxed out. Fleet operations, that's his ceiling. He has zero ambition. Meanwhile, I'm building my brand. My following is growing. Once I'm a divorced homeowner posting about my glow up, that content goes viral. Single woman, late 20s, thriving after leaving dead weight? That's at least 10,000 followers. Maybe 15,000 if I play it right. More laughter. A third voice, Nicole, another friend from her circle. When are you planning to leave him? 6 months after the wedding. Long enough it doesn't look suspicious. Short enough I'm still in my 20s when I'm back on the market. And here's the best part. I'm going to do it publicly. Some dinner or party with both families there? Just announce it in front of everyone and watch him fall apart. He's going to cry. You know how he gets. Oh my God, that's evil. The content practically writes itself. I sat in that parking lot for another minute, just staring at the windshield. Then I started the truck back up, pulled out, drove to a coffee shop 3 blocks away, and sat there for 2 hours with a black coffee going cold in front of me. 4 years. 4 years of building a life with this woman. Supporting her. Photographing her. Proposing to her. And the entire thing, every single piece of it, had been a long con. Real estate fraud with an Instagram angle. Here's the thing though. I wasn't panicking. Because Brooke had made one genuinely critical mistake. She told her friends about the plan before she had the house. Which meant I knew everything. which meant I could move first. I pulled out my phone and texted her. "Running late. Won't be back until 6. Have fun with your friends." She responded immediately. "Okay, babe. Love you. Just having girl talk." Girl talk. Right. Hold on. For anyone listening, this is me, not the OP. This is not a man having a breakdown. This is a man running diagnostics on his own life from the driver's seat, like he's the IT department for a problem he didn't create. Most guys go upstairs and blow up immediately. This man drove to a coffee shop, let it settle, and built a counter strategy before his coffee was cold. She ran a 4-year con. He dismantled it in under 2 hours. Ocean's 11, except it's one guy, no masks, and she handed him the blueprints through an open window. That's not revenge. That's just paying attention. When I got home, the friends were gone. Brooke was in the kitchen humming to herself, scrolling through paint colors on her phone like she was already mentally decorating a house that was going to be hers alone. She kissed me on the cheek when I walked in. "How was your day?" "Fine. Boring paperwork." "I'm so excited for the bank meeting. We're so close to being homeowners." Homeowners plural, like she meant it. I told her I'd been thinking, maybe we should hold off on the house. Just a few months. Make sure we were really ready. Her face changed. "What? Why?" "It's a big commitment. I just want to be careful. We already made an offer. They accepted. We can't just back out. We haven't signed anything final. We'd lose the earnest money, around $5,000, but that's better than rushing into something we're not both certain about." Her eyes narrowed. "Where is this coming from?" "Cold feet about the timing. Maybe we wait until after the wedding. Make sure everything's solid." She crossed her arms, stared at me for a long moment. Then she dropped it. We ate dinner in near silence. She left around 9 to go back to her place. The next morning I called the real estate agent and backed out of the offer. Then I called my mom. "Can you put together a family dinner for Friday night?" "Both families. Somewhere nice. Brooke's parents too." She asked what the occasion was. I told her I'd explain Friday. "Just make sure everyone's there," she said. "Is everything okay?" "It will be." I texted Brooke. "My mom wants to do a proper engagement dinner. Both families celebrate everything. That steakhouse in Manhattan your mom likes? Friday at 7? She texted back within 60 seconds. "Yes! That's so sweet. I'll wear my new dress." I'm sure she would. Wait. For the listeners, this is me. I want to be crystal clear about what just happened. She is sitting in his kitchen talking about paint colors while he has already backed out of the house, called his mom, and booked the restaurant. She thinks she's playing the long game. He flipped the board. This is the exact difference between acting from anger and acting from strategy. Anger would have been an immediate blow-up fight that went nowhere. Strategy is a steakhouse reservation at the place her mom likes, with both families there on a Friday. She drove to that dinner thinking she was going to a celebration. She was going to a deposition. Friday. I got to the restaurant at 6:45. Upscale steakhouse in Midtown. White tablecloths, mood lighting, $100 entrees. The kind of place where people go when something actually matters. My family arrived first. My mom, my dad, my brothers Rowan and Levi with their wives. They took one side of the long table we'd reserved. Brooke's parents arrived at 6:55. Her mom Diane in a nice dress, her dad Frank in a suit, looking like he'd come straight from a late meeting. Brooke walked in at exactly 7. Black dress, heels, full makeup, hair curled perfect. She'd obviously planned this outfit for maximum Instagram potential. I could see her already calculating the captions. She made the rounds the way she always did at family events. Hugged my mom, kissed my dad on the cheek, complimented my sisters-in-law on their outfits, chatted warmly with her parents, played the perfect future daughter-in-law with a skill I could now recognize for exactly what it was. Then she sat down next to me, put her hand on my leg under the table, and smiled at everyone like this was the happiest night of her life. I waited until everyone had food in front of them, took a sip of water, set down my fork. So, I wanted both families here tonight because I have an announcement. The table went quiet. Everyone looked at me. Brooke's face lit up like a switchboard. She probably thought I was about to announce a wedding date. More content, another week of ring photos and soulmate captions. Brooke and I are done. The engagement is off. I'm ending this right now. You could have heard a pin drop in that entire restaurant. Brooke's smile froze. Then it melted. What? We're over. I'm ending this. The engagement. The relationship. All of it. Her face went through about 15 different expressions in the span of 3 seconds. Confusion. Shock. The dawning horror of realizing this was real. Then, the specific kind of embarrassment that only hits when it happens in front of a table full of people. Is this a joke? Not a joke. Earlier this week I came home early and heard you talking with your friends in my apartment. You were planning to use me to get the house, then file for divorce 6 months after the wedding and take everything in the settlement. You said I was maxed out. Said sitting through dinner with my family made you want to disappear. Said once the house was yours, you were done with me. Your exact words were that I was dead weight and the content practically writes itself. I looked at her. You said you wanted to watch me fall apart in public. You said you'd planned to do it in front of both families. You wanted to see me cry. I set my napkin down. Well, congratulations. You get the public breakup, just not the version you wrote. The color drained from her face in real time. My mom's expression stayed controlled, but I could see the anger sitting just behind her eyes. My dad's jaw was set hard. My brothers were looking at Brooke like she was something they'd found on the bottom of a shoe. Brooke's mom, Diane, stood up, hand over her mouth. Frank's face had gone an alarming shade of red. He stared down at his plate and couldn't look at anyone. I wasn't, Brooke started, stopped. Her voice cracked. You were spying on me. My window was open. You were in my parking lot planning real estate fraud. Not exactly a secure location for sensitive planning sessions. Those were just things I was saying. I was venting. That's not what you told Kayla and Nicole. That you were maxed out career-wise. That family dinners with my family made you want to disappear. That 6 months after the wedding you'd be filing for divorce and documenting neglect for the lawyers. Those were your specific words. I pushed my chair back slightly. We're done. The engagement is over. I already backed out of the house 2 days ago. And you should probably leave. You're humiliating me, she whispered. Loud enough that the whole table heard. You were planning to do far worse in this exact kind of setting, for camera content. I'm just saving myself 6 months. Rowan crossed his arms. Levi shook his head and said nothing. My mom's voice came out ice cold. I think you should go, Brooke. Diane grabbed her purse, hands shaking. Frank stood up slowly. He looked at me once. His face was pure, heavy shame. Then he looked at his daughter with a disappointment so thick it sat in the air. Let's go. They left. Diane had her arm around Brooke's shoulders. Brooke was crying, mascara running, stumbling slightly in her heels. Frank walked 3 steps behind them both, shoulders hunched, head down. The restaurant door closed. The table sat in silence for a moment. My dad cleared his throat. Well, that was something. My mom picked her fork back up. All right then. Rowan leaned back in his chair and looked at me. You could have just broken up with her privately, man. She was planning to do exactly this to me, in front of both families, for Instagram content. I just moved the timeline up. Levi let out a slow breath. That's cold. My mom squeezed my hand once. You did the right thing. That girl would have taken everything from you. We finished dinner. The food was actually very good. Shame to let it go to waste. Okay, stop. For anyone listening, this is me. She wanted a public breakdown. She wanted to watch him fall apart in front of his parents and turn it into a glow-up arc. She planned that exact scene, and instead, she's the one stumbling in heels with mascara down her face while her dad can't look anyone in the eye. She got the script she wrote, just with the roles reversed. The villain got the villain's ending, and she still posted about it afterward. The person you trusted most destroying your life for no reason. Girl, you had a 6-month exit strategy drawn up in a parking lot. That's not trauma. That's a project plan. I went home that night, grabbed the 3 boxes of Brooke's stuff I'd packed on Wednesday, carried them downstairs, and left them on the curb outside my building. Then I went back upstairs, locked my door, and went to bed. Saturday morning, 43 missed calls. 17 from Brooke, 12 from her mom, 8 from unknown numbers that were probably Kayla and Nicole, 6 from Frank. I ignored all of them, made coffee, and scrolled through 31 texts from Brooke that ranged from confused to desperate to furious to bargaining. Please call me. We need to talk. You're making a huge mistake. How could you do this? Call me now. I love you. I blocked her number. Then I checked Instagram. She'd already posted a crying selfie from what looked like her childhood bedroom, caption about the person you trusted most destroying your entire life for no reason. Stay strong, Queens. Comments were flooded. His loss. You're too good for him. Glow up incoming. He'll regret this. I blocked her on every platform and moved on. Around noon, my buzzer went off. I checked the camera expecting Brooke. It was Brooke. Sweatpants, hoodie, eyes puffy, holding a coffee cup like it was life support. Kayla was with her. Arms crossed, jaw set, already in confrontation mode. I pressed the intercom. What do you want? Brooke's voice came through shaky. I need to get my stuff. I know you put my boxes outside. People took them. Should have grabbed them when you had the chance. Kayla leaned toward the speaker. Stop being childish and let her get her belongings. She had that opportunity when I put them on the curb. Not my fault if someone took free stuff. Long story short, I buzzed them up, gave them 5 minutes, stood in the doorway the whole time. Brooke went straight to the closet for whatever was left. A few clothes, a pair of shoes, a makeup bag. Kayla stood in my living room looking around like she was doing a property assessment. You're going to be alone forever because of this, Kayla offered at one point. You encouraged your friend to commit fraud and it blew up on both of you. That's what's actually happening right now. Brooke came back with a garbage bag, eyes red. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I really am, for everything. I know I messed up. You're sorry you got caught. That's different from being sorry for what you did. They left. Around 6 that evening, I headed downstairs to grab something from my truck. The 2019 Dodge Ram, black, lifted, kept in good condition. The thing I drove to work every day and kept cleaner than my apartment. The driver's side panel was destroyed. Deep scratches running the entire length of the door. Not random. Deliberate. A word carved into the paint in foot-high letters, metal exposed underneath. The kind of damage that doesn't buff out. I stood there for a moment, felt something cold settle in my chest. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the parking lot security app. The building had cameras covering the whole lot. I rewound to 5 p.m., Brooke's silver Honda pulling in, parking 3 spots away from my truck. Brooke getting out, looking around nervous. Kayla getting out of the passenger side. They stood there talking, Kayla pointing at the truck, gesturing, Brooke shaking her head. Then Kayla grabbed Brooke's shoulder, said something, and Brooke nodded. Then Brooke pulled out her car key and went to work. I watched her carve each letter, slow, deliberate, making sure every scratch was deep enough that it couldn't just be buffed out. Kayla stood guard, watching the lot. When Brooke finished, they both stepped back and looked at it. Kayla took a photo with her phone. Then they got back in the Honda and left. I saved the video, downloaded it, backed it up to 3 different cloud accounts, called a body shop, $2,500 to $3,500 for full panel repainting. Then I switched to my work phone, the one Brooke didn't have blocked yet. Texted her, I have HD security footage of you and Kayla keying my truck at 5 p.m. today. Shows your faces, your license plate, and the full thing start to finish. You have 24 hours to Venmo me $3,000 for repairs, or I file a police report for criminal mischief and vandalism. Your choice. 3 minutes later, my work phone rang. You can't prove that was me. I literally just told you I have HD footage. You want me to email it so you can watch yourself do it? Silence. 24 hours. Send $3,000 or I go to the police. They'll charge you both. Criminal mischief, vandalism, maybe conspiracy since Kayla was clearly standing watch. Good luck landing brand deals with a record. I don't have $3,000. Should have thought about that before you picked up your keys. 20 minutes later. Venmo notification. $3,000. Payment note. You're a horrible person. I accepted it. Didn't respond. Yo, timeout. She keyed the truck. She paid $3,000 via Venmo with a note calling him a horrible person. And somehow, the next play is sending her friend to seduce him. like he's going to open the door, see Kayla in full going out gear, and think fair enough. I need everyone to understand. This is the same strategic mind that almost pulled off a 6-month house fraud. She had one job after Friday. Don't do anything else. She's now committed vandalism, extorted herself, and is launching what I can only call Operation Bottle Service. CEO of Bad Decisions. What comes next in that hallway is better than anything on TV right now. Get your popcorn. I looked out my window. Brooke's Honda was back in a visitor spot, both of them outside it, having what looked like a very heated conversation. Brooke pointing wildly at the building, Kayla pointing back at Brooke. Then Brooke shoved her. Kayla stumbled back, looked genuinely shocked for about 1 second, and then shoved Brooke hard enough that she hit the car door. They stood there screaming at each other. I couldn't make out the words, but I could see Brooke holding up her phone, probably showing the Venmo receipt, clearly laying blame on Kayla for the whole situation. Kayla got in her own car and left without looking back. Brooke stood alone in the lot for a moment, staring up at my building. Then she got in the Honda and drove away too. I closed the blinds and made dinner. Solid evening, honestly. Wednesday, my buzzer went off again. I checked the camera expecting Brooke. It was Kayla. Low-cut top, jeans that looked painted on, hair down, full makeup. She had clearly put in effort. I pressed the intercom. What do you want? Hey, can we talk? I just wanted to apologize for everything. Against every reasonable instinct I had, I buzzed her up. She knocked on my door. I opened it, but stayed in the doorway. She gave me this smile that probably worked on guys at clubs. Said she felt terrible about the whole situation, that Brooke was wrong, that she should have told her to just be honest from the beginning. Standard apology packaging. Then she shifted, hip out, leaning slightly into the doorframe, like she was auditioning for something. Maybe I could make it up to you, buy you dinner, hang out. I almost laughed out loud. You're trying to seduce me. I'm trying to apologize properly. By sleeping with me. She smiled wider. If that's where things go naturally. I actually did laugh at that one. Let me get this straight. Your friend tried to commit real estate fraud against me. You called it genius. I ended the relationship. She keyed my truck. Now you show up here dressed like you're working bottle service somewhere. And the play is what exactly? That I'd be grateful? That you'd pick up where she left off? Her face flushed. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. And honestly, this is embarrassing for you. You can leave. She turned to go. Got maybe 3 steps down the hall. That's when Brooke came around the corner. She stopped dead. Looked at Kayla. Looked at my apartment door. Looked back at Kayla. Her voice went flat immediately. What are you doing here? Kayla froze. I came to talk to him, about you, to try to fix things. Brooke's eyes dropped to the outfit. Like that. I just wanted to talk. You were trying to hook up with him. I was trying to help by throwing yourself at my ex-fiancé the second we break up, while I'm going through the worst week of my life. He's not your fiancé anymore. You said that. I stood in my doorway and watched all of this unfold with the focus of someone who just found the best show on television. The voices got louder. Brooke laid out the obvious, that Kayla had been right there encouraging the whole plan, calling it strategic, cheering her on, and was now showing up in that outfit to swoop in the first chance she got. Kayla shot back that Brooke had gotten sloppy and greedy, and if she just kept her mouth shut, none of this would have happened. So this is my fault? Brooke's voice went dangerously quiet. Yeah, actually, you got caught. Now you're broke, single, and living with your parents. Meanwhile, Brooke slapped her. Hard. Kayla's head snapped sideways. She stood perfectly still for 1 full second. Then she slapped Brooke back harder. Brooke stumbled into the wall, touched her face. Then she lunged. They went full grapple, grabbing hair, slapping wildly, someone's shoe coming off in the process, Brooke's purse spilling completely across the hallway floor. I pulled out my phone and recorded every second. The whole thing lasted maybe 20 seconds before they separated, both breathing hard, hair destroyed, faces red. Stay away from him, Brooke yelled. Why? You don't want him. That doesn't mean you get to have him. Kayla grabbed her shoe and shoved it back on. You had everything and you burned it down yourself. Don't put that on me. She stormed toward the stairs and was gone. Brooke stood there, mascara running again. She looked at me like I'd personally caused all of this. This is all your fault. I'm just standing here watching. You turned everyone against me. You did that. I just stopped pretending not to notice. She shoved things back into her purse. Lipstick, wallet, her phone with a fresh crack across the screen. She stood up. You're going to regret this. You're going to realize what you lost. You keep saying that. I'll let you know if it kicks in. She looked at me with pure hatred for a long moment. Then she took the stairs. Apparently the elevator was too slow for the dramatic exit she needed. I closed the door, saved the video, and went to finish making dinner. Anyway, final update. I filed for a restraining order Thursday morning. Brought everything in a single organized folder. The parking lot security footage with timestamps, the Venmo receipt with her "you're a horrible person" payment note, screenshots of the threatening texts, the hallway video from Wednesday. The clerk at the courthouse looked through the whole thing and told me it was one of the most documented domestic situation cases she'd processed in a while. Got the temporary order the same day. Judge signed off within hours. Brooke had to stay 500 feet away or face immediate arrest. Her mom kept calling my office the following week, trying to spin the story, that I'd broken her daughter's heart, that I'd humiliated her in public for no reason, that I owed Brooke a chance to explain herself. My boss sat down with me, asked for the full picture. I walked him through everything. The overheard conversation, the house, the family dinner, the truck, all of it. He backed me completely and had HR document the situation in case Brooke tried anything involving my employment. Frank called 2 days later. That conversation was different from everything else. He sounded completely exhausted, said he had no idea what Brooke had been planning, and was genuinely horrified when he found out the full extent of it. He apologized, said Brooke was moving back home, that they were going to figure out what had gone wrong. He sounded like a man carrying real shame, and I felt for him, honestly. None of this was his. 3 weeks after that, the full court hearing. Brooke showed up with a public defender who looked like he wanted to be somewhere else entirely. The lawyer argued I was overreacting, that she just wanted closure, that I was the unreasonable ex. Tried to make me sound like the one who couldn't let go. I laid out every piece of evidence in order. Security footage of the truck keying, Venmo receipt, screenshots of the threatening texts, hallway video. The judge's expression got harder with each item on the table. Her lawyer went with the "she was emotionally overwhelmed after a traumatic breakup" angle. The judge asked Brooke directly whether she damaged my vehicle. She tried to deny it. The judge played the security footage on the courtroom screen. You could see Brooke's face clearly. The key in her hand. Every deliberate letter. Crystal clear, time-stamped. She went completely silent. Judge called it criminal mischief, trespassing, and vandalism. Granted the restraining order for 2 full years. Said if she violated it once, she'd face immediate arrest and criminal charges. Brooke walked out of that courthouse looking like her world had collapsed. I checked her Instagram on the drive home out of pure curiosity. The account had been mostly gutted, all the house content deleted, all the engagement photos gone, most of the influencer posts pulled down. She was sitting at around 3,400 followers. Her most recent post was a sunset photo. Caption: starting over. 12 likes. 3 comments from relatives. Stay strong, sweetie. The influencer dream was over. The house was gone. The relationship was done. She had a 2-year restraining order that would show up on background checks indefinitely. And I had 97 grand a year, my truck repainted on her dime, and the quietest apartment I've ever had in my adult life. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with the extra drawer space. Look, I'm not saying this guy played every moment perfectly, but when someone spends 4 years treating you like a transaction and then keys your truck over the consequence, you don't negotiate. You document everything, file the paperwork, and let the judge be the punchline. That's not petty. That's knowing the difference between what you owe someone and what you don't. Drop your take in the comments. What would you have done the second you heard that conversation from the parking lot? Sit on it or move first like this guy did? Let me know. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit the button. New stories every day.